Guys, welcome to another video. I have such an amazing treat for you guys today. We ended up getting that magical phone call to come pick up our next amazing watch, and I want to reveal it right here for the first time with you guys and show you the watch and tell you a little bit about it. I love you guys. Before we get into this video, if you don't mind, just hit that subscribe button and go like this video. It definitely helps boost the algorithm and helps us push more videos out to you.
What y'all out here for, man? What you here for, huh? Does your life matter? Does your life matter? You ready for this? You ready to take control? Are you giving up control or are you taking control?
So, guess what? We got it right over here. And this is so awesome. I can't tell you guys how long I've been waiting to get this call, to get this watch. For me, this was something super special, and I love to celebrate new victories with getting a new watch. And I'm gonna unbox it here for the first time with you guys. So let's do this. And if you guys didn't know by the title, it's a Rolex. And we got this beautiful Rolex box right over here. And let's open it up. Ooh. Let's put that down right over here. So guys, we'll pop this open. So if you guys don't know what this is actually the Rolex GMT-Master Rose Gold. And they call this actually, the nickname for this watch is the Rootbeer. And they call it the Rootbeer just because the bezel is actually a ceramic bezel and the inlays right over here are 18 karat gold plated. And why it's a Rootbeer is because it has black and brown on the ceramic bezel. A little bit more about this watch. So the Rolex GMT-Master 2 in Everose Gold was actually released in Baselworld at 2018, and they never made an old gold watch. The second I saw this watch, I knew, hey, I'm gonna want this. And this is something I definitely want in my collection. Now, the thing about the watch was it was also released with an actual two-tone version and also a steel model, which had actually a blue and red bezel, and they used to call that the Rootbeer. Now, because it was priced a lot less, what ended up happening is the hype went crazy on that steel model, and it was sold out and you couldn't get it from any authorized dealer. You have to be a long-term client with these ADs in order to even have a chance to actually acquire them, or go to the second market and actually buy it at a premium. Now, this watch became super hard to get. And over COVID, what ended up happening is that these watches flew up and inventory flew down even more. So to finally acquire this masterpiece, I feel like it's such a blessing. When it comes down to the actual Rootbeer, this is actually the third watch that Rolex ever made it with a bicolor bezel. And the top of the ceramic casing is actually black to represent nighttime. And the bottom of the bezel is actually brown to represent all the daylight. So with the GMT-Master 2, you have a beautiful Cerakote bezel. Now the Cerakote bezel, this is actually the third modifications that Rolex ever did to do a bicolored bezel. And right over here, you're gonna have the black and the brown as we mentioned before. And the top is actually black to represent the nighttime. And the bottom is actually brown to represent the daylight. A beautiful attribute about the actual Rolex Rootbeer is that Rolex, I don't know if you guys know this, but they're the only watch factory that actually produces their own gold. And the beautiful part about this is that the bezel is all inlaid with 18 karat rose gold. And the beautiful thing about the dial is that it's all 18 karat gold accents actually, if you look inside of it. It's such a beautiful finish, and let's try it on and I'll tell you guys a little bit more about it. So, a little bit more about the actual Rolex Rootbeer is that unlike some other watches in the Rolex family where you can actually adjust it, and when I'm talking about adjusting, I'm talking about you can adjust the size from all the way here to here, like the Sea Dweller, for example. So you can actually, when you put on your scuba suit, you can take it underwater and it's still gonna fit perfectly and you don't have to take any links out. With this watch, you just have a small little adjustment right over here. And this takes off a few centimeters. And the way it works is just like this. You ready? Listen to this. Boom. And that's how it works exactly. And that's in order to make it just a little bit more tighter. And if you want a little bit more snug, then guess what? We're gonna do it just like this. And now you have a little bit more room. Now, the goal of this is only because as human beings, we obviously get bloated sometimes. And when we get bloated, our wrists also get bloated sometimes. If you eat too much salt and so forth. And the reason why they have this is that on sweaty days or really hot summer days, or when you're eating a lot of food that's actually gonna get you bloated, you can actually loosen it up a little bit on your wrist. But then on every other day, when you want it to fit a little bit more snug and tailored, then all you have to do is grab it by the link and click it into place. Now, rose gold. Let me tell you a little bit about it. Rose gold actually gets scratched very easily. That's because gold is a very, very fragile metal that the higher the gold quality, the easier it is to actually get scratched. And that's why a lot of people don't actually use 24 karat gold in order to make chains, watches, and so forth, because the metal isn't that durable. Now you have over here 18 karat rose gold, and it definitely gets smudged up really quick, and it definitely gets scratched up really quick as well. But it has such a beautiful shine to it, and unlike the other models, which is, let's say, the Sky Dweller and the Submariners that are all 18 karat yellow gold, this one's a little bit more downplayed, I feel like. And the beauty of it is that it's just a little bit more classy, a little bit more under the radar, but it's such a beautiful watch, and it looks gorgeous on the wrist. So let's try it on, guys. Tell me what you think. Boom, and there you have it. So the beautiful thing about Rolex is that actually every watch has a different function for it. They built it for different things. So you have the Yachtmaster for yachting, right? Because we're all yachters. You have the Sea Dweller when you want to go scuba diving and you want to stay underwater around 1,000 foot. So it actually can take all that pressure. You have the Submariner if you just want to stay in the water just a little bit, you know? And then you're going to have the GMT as well. And the GMT actually works as time zones. Then you have also the Daytona, and the Daytona is more of a racing watch, hence the name Daytona. And you have the Sky Dweller for aircrafts. Now look how beautiful this is. And the goal is like this, right? With the ceramic bezel, you can adjust it very easily, just like that. And what it ends up doing, it gives you a different time zone. So the way the GMT-Master 2 actually works like this. And let's say you're traveling from New York to California. And now in New York, it's gonna show 650. Let me just show you that right over here. We have 653. And now in Cali, it's actually gonna be what? 353, 3 hours back. So you're gonna have to adjust for that time. Now the way this watch works is military time. So 1650 is actually 18, right? Because we have 12 plus 6. Now what you would have to do is -3, right? Because we're going back. So from 1850, we're gonna get to 1550, and you're gonna have to adjust your watch right over here to where it shows 1553. And now, anytime you're traveling, or let's say you're going to California, you know the hour is actually 3:53. And that's gonna help you instead of actually manually winding your watch back and forward every time you travel. A beautiful thing about this box is that actually in this compartment right over here, if you pull it, you're actually gonna have a few things in here. So this is gonna be my warranty card and the warranty card holder. On top of that, I have my warranty booklet, which actually tells me a little bit more about the process and everything. And over here, we also have the little booklet. And this booklet actually, in the beautiful Rolex green with the beautiful gold emblems, it's gonna tell you a lot more about the watch. So when you scroll through it, you're gonna understand what you have. And on top of that, in the storage compartment, I do have these. Now people might ask, what is this? These are links, because when I walked into the Rolex store, guess what? The Rolex was definitely too big on my wrist. And inside the booklet, it actually explains the Easy Link mechanism. Now with this specific Rolex, as I showed you guys, it has a little click function. And in that click function, it actually moves it a few centimeters smaller to a few centimeters bigger. But on top of that, Rolex actually adjusted, because after taking out 2 links, even with making it tighter with the Easy Link, it was still a little bit too big on me. So what they did is, they actually have a mechanism over here that adjusts from here to here, just slightly, in order to make it a little bit bigger without removing an additional link. And the problem with removing additional links is that if you remove an additional link from here, then the watch will be off-centered, and the watch will start looking, when you move an unproportional amount, let me show you guys, the watch will start sitting like this, or sitting like this. And the goal of the watch is to sit flush on your wrist. And with that in mind, we played around with it until we found the perfect size so it can fit just right. And also another thing about this watch is, if you guys haven't seen, it doesn't have any push dialers over here. That's because this is not a chronograph. So it has more of a sleek look, which I actually love on the wrist. And it's only 40 millimeters. And now there's a lot of watches that are ranging from anywhere. Rolex makes watches 40 all the way up to 44. Now, me particularly, I have a smaller wrist, but I do like bigger watches, and I do own 44s and 43 millimeter watches. But I feel like the 40 millimeter watch, in the beginning when I put it on my wrist, when I got it from my AD, it felt a little bit small, but that's only because I was wearing a big watch. But now looking at it, it really fits so perfectly, and it's such a beautiful design. Now over here, let's take this off and let's show you guys. We also have the oyster steel bracelet. Now Rolex makes the presidential bracelet, which is more of a jubilee, and then it makes an oyster steel bracelet. Now what this actually means is that the bracelet is full 18 karat Everose gold, and that over here, they actually, in the middle of the watch, they fully polish it, and on the sides, they give it a matte finish. And that's what it kind of gives you, like a beautiful glow to the watch. Remember, this is gold, so it definitely gets scratched easily. And the polished parts, you're definitely gonna see the scratches a lot more. On the matte finishing, it's very hard to see the scratches. When it comes down to Rolex, you're definitely getting quality. And you know you're getting quality anytime you buy Rolex. Now, the 18 karat rose gold is actually a few golds mixed, and the way they actually get this proprietary color is through mixing different alloys along with 18 karat yellow gold. And on top of that, what they end up putting inside is copper and also platinum, which a lot of people don't know. And by adding all these alloys, Rolex is promising you that the rose gold and the pink hue isn't gonna fade out in a year, 2 years, or 3 years. It's actually supposed to last a lifetime, because this pink hue is stunning. And this is the beauty about this watch. And you can buy a lot of other watches that are ever rose gold, and within a few years, you're gonna start seeing them kind of like the color going away and becoming a lot less shiny in your eyes, a lot less pink in your eyes, a lot less. The gold kind of starts deteriorating in a sense, and it ends up losing the beauty of this baby. So guys, I can't tell you guys how much I love Rolex. I feel like Rolex, when it comes down to the brand, it makes possibly one of the best watches out there in the market today, and their value are so strong. You get so much for your money. Now this watch actually retails for around the 38,000 range. We're actually gonna link it right up here. And after taxes, especially in New York, you're gonna be around the 41.5 range. But this is so hard to come by. And what I love about this watch is, just like, I'm such a huge rose gold fan, and I feel like it goes well with my style and everything else. And as I always preach, guys, anytime you do well in business or anytime you do something, go out and reward yourself with something. Don't go over the top, go within your means, haven't made sense, and I feel like what's better than buying a watch? Because the value of the watch isn't going to depreciate as much as the value of a car or the value of clothing. But in the end of the day, sometimes even these watches go up in prices. Now, the goal for me is to constantly build up my collection. And I buy watches not based upon where their value is going to be tomorrow or where it is today. I buy them more based on what I love and what fits my necessities and what I am more drawn to. And this was one of my favorite watches ever. And I was like, I have to get my hands on it because I feel like it just matches my style and matches my presence so much. And honestly, on the wrist, it's such a knockout, such a beautiful piece. And I am so excited and I am so lucky to have this. And the goal now is, if we're gonna get our next watch, what achievement are we gonna make? Because you always have to have that mentality of, hey, I rewarded myself with something, now I have to acquire new goals. And this is something you guys gotta take with yourselves. Anytime you handle something and you get through it, remember that motion creates motion. So if you heat up an iron pipe and then you start hammering at it, it's gonna bend very easily. But if you take a hot iron pipe and let it cool down and then start hammering it, then guess what? It's gonna be hard to bend it. You're gonna have to heat it up again, and the heating up process actually takes time. So what I say is this: great, you accomplished something, but don't lose focus. Get yourself something nice, reward yourself, give yourself a little bit of a good taste in your mouth, and continue hustling, continue grinding, continue exceeding goals and making new goals constantly. Because you guys want to consistently grow, and the goal of life is just to keep on getting ahead. You can't be complacent, and you can't not, I always say, I'm never satisfied, but I'm always grateful. Because I'm never satisfied mentality, I feel like I'm always trying to hustle for more, but I'm always grateful for what I have. Guys, I want to know what watches you guys like. Why don't you comment down below and tell me what your dream watch is? I have a lot of watches next that I want to get. I'm actually in the market now to see if I can get a Batman or a Pepsi. And I actually love the Batman on the Jubilee bracelet. We're going to throw up some visions of exactly what we're looking for. And also, we're looking to potentially get maybe a nice yellow gold Daytona inside our collection. And some other models such as APs as well. And I'm in love with the AP rose gold. And if you really want to talk about high-end luxury watches, I'm in love with the skeleton AP. Give me a black one, black ceramic, white ceramic, rose gold, all steel. That is a gorgeous, phenomenal, probably one of the most beautiful watches I've ever seen. Guys, I love you guys. I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed the video. Other than that, subscribe because there's a lot more coming to you. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Been a little too nice for y'all. Now I gotta up price for y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. A6 all the hay. I won't get a ball today. Got lost in the ball and A's. I'm flipping the bars. I'm flipping the on record, off record. I still count wins when they got it.